By the end of this video, something inside you will change. Not because I am here to motivate you, not because I will give you comfort, but because what you are about to hear will take something from you. It will take the version of you that still hesitates, the version that still hopes people will understand, will change, will treat you better if you just try harder. That version does not survive this. Right now, you are standing at a line most people never even see. A line between who you were and what you are about to become. On one side, there is control, precision, silence, the mind of someone who sees everything and reacts to nothing. On the other side, there is chaos, a rage, a version of you that stops caring completely and burns everything in its path. Mastermind or monster. And the truth is, both are born from the same place, pain. Not the kind people talk about openly, not the kind that gets sympathy. I mean the quiet kind. The kind you carry alone, the betrayal you never fully processed, the disrespect you pretended did not matter. The moments you stayed silent when you should have walked away, you remember those moments. You do not forget them, you store them. And over time, something starts to change. You stop reacting the same way. You start noticing patterns. The way people talk, the way they lie, the way they only show up when it benefits them. You begin to see through things you once believed in. That is where this begins. Most people never reach this point because they distract themselves. They scroll, they laugh, they pretend everything is fine. They go back to being comfortable. But you did not. You clicked this video, which means a part of you is already different. A part of you is already tired of playing the same role, tired of being predictable, tired of being the one who understands everyone while no one understands you. And now you are here, looking for something you cannot even fully explain. Be careful what you are looking for, because this is not motivation. This is awareness, and awareness changes everything. Once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand how people really move, how power really works, how control is really built, you cannot go back to being who you were before. That is why most people avoid this. They would rather stay comfortable than become dangerous. But you did not choose comfort. Not this time. So listen carefully. There are only two paths from here. You either learn to control what you feel, control how you move, control how you think, and you become someone who cannot be manipulated, cannot be read, cannot be easily replaced. A mastermind. Or you let everything that hurt you take over. You let anger guide you. You let emotion control your decisions. You become unpredictable or aggressive, destructive, a monster. Both paths give you power, but only one gives you control. And if you think this is just another video, another speech, another temporary feeling that fades in an hour, you are already wrong. Because something inside you is listening differently right now. You feel it, that shift, that tension, that quiet voice in your head telling you that this is not normal, that this is not safe, that this might change you in ways you cannot undo. It is right, and that is exactly why you need to keep watching. Because you did not become this version of yourself for no reason. Everything that happened to you led here. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every moment you felt overlooked or underestimated. It all built this. So now the question is simple. What are you going to do with it? Because once this starts, there is no going back. Only forward. Mastermind or monster, you were taught a lie, not an obvious one, not something easy to reject. It was subtle, repeated so often that you never questioned it. Be nice, be patient, be forgiving, be the bigger person. They said this was strength. They told you that if you stayed calm, stayed kind, stayed respectful, everything would eventually work out, that people would recognize your value, that doing the right thing would always bring the right results. But look at what actually happened. Think about the times you stayed quiet to avoid conflict, the times you gave someone another chance when they did not deserve it, the times you put someone else first, thinking they would do the same for you. What did you get in return? Respect or convenience? Because there is a difference, a big one. Convenience means people keep you around because you are easy to deal with, because you do not challenge them, because you forgive quickly and forget even faster. You become predictable, safe, replaceable. Respect is different. Respect is when people think twice before crossing you. When your presence alone changes how they behave. When your boundaries are clear and breaking them has consequences. You were not taught how to build that. You were taught how to be accepted, and acceptance without boundaries turns into weakness in the real world. That is the part no one tells you. They say kindness is everything, but they never explain that kindness without strength invites exploitation. They say be patient, but they never tell you that patience without awareness turns into tolerance for disrespect. They say forgive, but they never mention that blind forgiveness teaches people that they can hurt you without losing you. So you followed the rules, and slowly, something started to feel off. You noticed that the loud ones got attention. The confident ones got opportunities. The ones who said no, who walked away, who set limits, they were treated differently, not always liked, but respected. That is when the illusion starts to crack. Because you begin to see that the world does not operate on what sounds good, it operates on what works. Power is respected, not kindness alone. And power does not mean aggression. It does not mean shouting or dominating every room. Real power is quieter than that. It is control, it is awareness, it is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It is understanding people better than they understand themselves. But you were never taught that. You were taught to be good, not to win. And there is a difference. Being good keeps things peaceful on the surface. Winning requires understanding what is actually happening underneath. The unspoken rules, the hidden dynamics, the way people test limits, push boundaries, and respond to strength. The moment you start seeing this, everything changes. Conversations feel different. You notice what people are really saying, not just the words they use. You see hesitation, you see manipulation, you see intention. And once you see it, you cannot go back. You realize you were not losing because you were weak. You were losing because you were playing a different game. A game where being kind was supposed to be enough. It is not. Kindness is a tool, not a strategy. Without awareness, without boundaries, without control, it becomes something people take advantage of. This is where most people get stuck. They either stay blind, pretending the lie is still true, or they swing to the other extreme and become bitter, aggressive, and reckless. But there is another path. The moment you understand the game, you gain a choice. You can still be calm, still be composed, still be respectful, but now it comes with awareness, with limits, with the ability to walk away without hesitation. That is not weakness, that is control. And control is where real power begins. So no, you were never the problem. You were conditioned to believe in rules that do not protect you. Now you are starting to see beyond them. And once that awareness fully settles in, the way you move, the way you speak, the way you think, it will never be the same again. There is always a moment when everything changes. Not loudly, not dramatically. It does not come with a warning. It happens quietly, almost unnoticed at first. A shift in how you feel. A pause before you react. A thought that lingers longer than it should. And then it hits you. Something inside you is not the same anymore. It could have been one moment or 1,000 small ones. Betrayal from someone you trusted. Being overlooked when you gave your best. Rejection when you expected loyalty. Disrespect when you stayed silent. At first, you tried to understand it. You asked yourself the same question over and over again. Why me? Why does this keep happening? What did I do wrong? You searched for answers in other people. You tried to fix things. Adjust yourself, be more patient, more understanding, more forgiving. But the pattern did not stop. That is when the question changes. Not why me. That shift is everything. Because in that moment, you stop looking outward for explanations and start looking inward for control. You stop hoping the world will change and start realizing that you have to. And that realization is where the break happens. It is not just emotional, it is mental. You start seeing things differently. The same situations, the same people, the same patterns, but now you notice what you missed before. You see the signs earlier, the tone in someone's voice, the hesitation, the inconsistency, the way actions never matched words, and instead of ignoring it, you remember it. Pain sharpens your awareness. That is why it is dangerous, because the same pain that wakes you up can also consume you. This is where the split begins. Two people can go through the same experience and come out completely different. One becomes controlled, strategic, aware. The other becomes reactive, aggressive, unpredictable. Same pain, different outcome. One becomes a mastermind, the other becomes a monster. The mastermind does not forget the pain. They study it, they analyze it, they turn it into information. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every betrayal becomes a pattern to recognize next time. They become quieter, not weaker, more observant, not more emotional. They do not rush to react. They wait, they watch, they choose their actions carefully. That is control. The monster, on the other hand, feels the same pain but lets it take over. Every emotion becomes louder. Anger replaces clarity. Impulse replaces strategy. They react to everything. They trust nothing. They burn bridges before thinking about where they are going next. It feels powerful at first, but it is not. Because power without control destroys you. It ruins your decisions, it clouds your thinking. It turns every situation into a reaction instead of a choice. And when everything is a reaction, you are no longer in control. You are being controlled. That is the trap. Pain gives you energy, it gives you intensity, it gives you the drive to change. But without direction, that same energy turns against you. So the real question is not whether you have been hurt. You have. The real question is what you are going to do with it. Are you going to let it make you reckless or refined? Because this is the point where your identity starts to shift. You are no longer the person who did not know better. You are no longer unaware of how things work. You cannot go back to ignoring what you see now. You have crossed that line. And from here, every decision matters more. Every reaction shapes what you are becoming. Pain was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your awareness, the beginning of your control, the beginning of your power. But only if you learn how to hold it without letting it consume you. Because once something inside you breaks, it does not go back to what it was before. It becomes something new, something sharper, something harder, something that cannot be easily fooled again. Now the only thing left to decide is what that something will be. Now we get to the part most people never reach. Not because it is hidden, but because it requires something they are not willing to develop. Control. Everyone wants power. Very few want discipline. Even fewer understand that real power is nothing more than disciplined control applied consistently. This is where the mastermind is built, not from noise, not from emotion, from precision. The first shift is emotional control. You stop reacting instantly. You feel everything, but you do not show everything. Anger, frustration, disappointment, they are still there, but they no longer decide your actions. You pause, you process, you choose. That pause is power. Because most people do not have it. They speak too soon. They act too fast. They expose exactly how they feel without realizing they are giving away control. When you stop doing that, everything changes. Silence becomes your advantage. You do not need to fill every gap in a conversation. You do not need to explain yourself to people who have not earned that access. You listen more than you speak, and while others are busy revealing their thoughts, their intentions, their weaknesses, you are collecting information. Observation replaces reaction. You start noticing patterns instead of moments. You stop judging situations emotionally and start reading them strategically. Who benefits? Who loses? Who is consistent? Who changes when pressure is applied? You begin to see people clearly, and when you see clearly, you move differently. That is where long-term thinking comes in. The mastermind does not chase quick wins. They build positioning. Every move has a purpose. Every decision is measured not just by what it gives now, but by what it creates later. Short-term emotion fades. Long-term strategy stays. That is why patience, when combined with awareness, becomes dangerous. You are no longer rushing to prove anything. You are building something others cannot see yet. This is where most people misunderstand power. They think it is loud, aggressive, visible. It is not. Real power is quiet. It does not need attention because it creates results. It does not need validation because it already knows its direction. There are rules you start living by. Never reveal everything. The moment people know exactly how you think, exactly how you feel, exactly what you plan, you become predictable. And predictability is weakness. You keep parts of yourself private, not out of fear, but out of strategy. Move in silence. You do not announce your next step. You do not seek approval before acting. You execute first, let results speak later. This removes interference. It removes doubt. It removes unnecessary noise from people who were never part of your path. Control yourself, control everything, because everything outside of you is uncertain. People change, situations shift, outcomes are never guaranteed. But your response, your mindset, your discipline, that is yours to command. And when that is solid, nothing outside can shake you easily. This leads to the final piece, detachment. Not coldness, not lack of emotion. Detachment is clarity. You stop depending on people for stability. You stop expecting others to behave a certain way for you to feel okay. You appreciate, but you do not rely. You connect, but you do not cling. That is freedom. Because once you are not controlled by expectations, you cannot be easily manipulated. Now compare that to the other path. The monster reacts instantly, speaks without thinking, acts without strategy, burns bridges out of emotion, feels powerful in the moment but loses control in the long run. That is not strength, that is exposure. Because the more reactive you are, the easier you are to read, the easier you are to provoke, the easier you are to control. The mastermind understands this and chooses differently. Calm over chaos, silence over noise, strategy over impulse. This is what real power looks like. Not loud, not reckless, controlled. And once you reach this level of control, you realize something most people never do. You were never trying to dominate others. You were learning to master yourself. And that is the highest form of power there is. This is where everything comes together. From the moment you pressed play, you stepped into something most people avoid. You did not just listen. You saw. You questioned. You stayed when it became uncomfortable. And now you are here, at the same line we started with. But this time you understand it. You have seen the truth now. Not the version people repeat to keep things easy. The real one. The one that explains why things played out the way they did. Why being passive never protected you. Why reacting emotionally never gave you control. You see it clearly. And once you see it, there are only two directions forward. Mastermind or monster. No middle ground, no illusion left to hide behind. The mastermind chooses control. They think before they act. They observe before they speak. They understand that every situation is a game of awareness, not emotion. They build quietly. They move with intention. They do not chase attention. They command respect through consistency. They are not easily provoked, not easily shaken, not easily replaced, because they are built on something stable. Discipline, self-control. The monster chooses chaos. They react instantly. Every emotion becomes an action. Every slight becomes a reason to attack. They speak without thinking, move without direction, destroy without considering what comes after. It feels powerful in the moment, but it is not, because chaos has a cost. It burns opportunities, it ruins relationships, it traps you in a cycle where you are always reacting, always chasing, always fighting, but never actually winning. Fear is not respect, and destruction is not power. That is the difference most people never understand. Both paths give you intensity. Both paths give you energy. Both paths make you feel different from who you used to be. But only one builds something that lasts. Only one puts you in control of your life instead of at the mercy of your emotions. So now the question becomes real, not theoretical, not something you can ignore. What will you become? Because from this point forward, your actions will answer that question whether you say it out loud or not. Every time you choose silence instead of reaction, you move toward mastery. Every time you pause instead of letting emotion take over, you build control. Every time you think long-term instead of chasing short-term satisfaction, you step into power. But every time you react without thinking, every time you let anger decide for you, every time you choose chaos because it feels easier in the moment, you move in the opposite direction. And the truth is, no one is coming to stop you. No one is going to correct your path. This is on you, completely. That is what makes it powerful and dangerous, because you are no longer unaware. You are no longer blind to how things work. You cannot go back to the version of yourself that did not see these patterns, did not understand these choices. That version is gone. Now there is only who you decide to become next. So decide carefully, not based on emotion, not based on what feels good right now, but based on what you want your life to look like when all of this plays out. Control or chaos, strategy or impulse, respect or fear, mastermind or monster. And understand this clearly. The The world around you will not suddenly become fair. People will not suddenly change. Situations will not magically align in your favor. The world does not change. You do. That is where your power is. That is where your control begins. So, if you are ready to think differently, to move differently, to separate yourself from the version of you that stayed stuck, then you already know what to do. Most people will hear this and go back to who they were. Very few will actually apply it. Be honest with yourself. Which one are you going to be?